Hi folks, welcome to the next in the series, Understanding and Using Excel. This time we'll be looking at the basics of Vlookup, one of the most popular formulas and functions in all of Excel. Let's look at some background information. This demonstration will cover the basics of using Vlookup, and you can use Vlookup to find data which is associated with other data. For example, you might have many employees and their information in a worksheet. One of the columns contains their salaries. By entering the employee name, you can use Vlookup to show that employee's salary. Remember, you can always pause the demonstration and play it as often as you wish. You can also view the demonstration in full screen mode if required at high resolution. This is recommended. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll be notified automatically of many more Excel hints, tips and procedures to come. Let's go to the demonstration. Vlookup. The way it works quite simply is this. This cell will contain the question for which we want the answer, and is referred to, as we'll see shortly, in the formula as the first argument after the bracket. In this case, we'll type a name from down in the employees, Bill, Tom, Mary, etc. And we want to see across in the next cell their salary. So this cell contains the Vlookup formula. A formula is always typed, as you're aware, in the cell in which you want the answer. And the formula we're going to type is equal Vlookup, and open a bracket, A7, which is the name that we want to find the salary for, followed by the array that has the information in it. That is A11 to C17. The next argument is the number 3, and the third argument, being the number 3, is the number of the column that actually has the number of that column counting from the left in the array that has the answer. It is a number, not a column heading. The fourth argument, as we'll see, is the word false, which says to Excel, find the first exact match. You should use the false argument if the data is not sorted in ascending order. So let's type a formula in here. Equal Vlookup, and open a bracket. We then say this cell will contain the information that we want the answer for. So then we type a comma. We then select the array of data, the range of cells that contains the data, because this is where Excel searches, comma. Now we count from the left, the first column, the second column, the third column, and therefore we type the number 3. If the salaries were in the fourth column, we would type the number 4. If they were in the second column, we would type the number 2. Because the data is not sorted in ascending order, we type a comma followed by the word false. The word false means show me the first exact match, and we'll see how that works again shortly, where we have somebody with the same name. Then I close the bracket and press enter. At this stage, of course, I receive an error message because there is no data in cell A7. But let's say we wanted to find Mary's salary. I type Mary, press enter, and it shows me her salary is 43,000. Let's say we wanted to see Jane's salary. Jane, enter, and her salary is 38,000. So it has looked at the contents of cell A7 and then looked across into the third column and entered that data via the formula. So how the formula works again is this. After a name is entered into cell A7, the formula tells Excel to look in the range A11, in fact it is C17, my mistake there. Find the first matched name by looking vertically down the column and then look across in the third column in the array. It then completes cell C7 with the number it finds. Remember, in the formula Excel needs to know the number of the column in the data array so it can return the correct answer. Now, let's say that we have another person by the name of Mary here. I want to find this Mary's salary of $67,000, but if I type Mary in there, Excel, because we're using the word false, stops at the first exact match. So what I have to do is down here I need to identify this Mary, perhaps with we'll say in our case the number 2, and I'll press enter. Now if I look for Mary 2, I see that her salary is now correct. So that's something we have to be wary of, that the information is unique. So notice there are two names the same, Mary. We need to identify that second Mary uniquely because Vlookup, because we're using the word false in the formula, as we can see up here in the formula bar, it stops at the first exact match. So they're the basics of Vlookup. Let's look at how I can use Vlookup where I have two columns of information. Now in this particular problem, you'll see that we can use a cell reference to choose which column needs to be used as the third argument. We're going to use Vlookup to find the net pay after choosing from two taxation deduction types. One will give the taxpayer a concession where they pay less tax on a given salary range. They might have children, whatever it might be. And this is the non-concession tax rate for people who have not lodged a concessional deduction application. So here we have column 2 and column 3. The concession tax rate is in column 2. The non-concession again is in column 3. So what I can do now is to type my formula in this cell, and this time we'll see that we want to find the tax concession based on the gross pay. So the formula says look up what is in C9, the gross income, which I will enter. Then look in the range A14 to C27, the array down here, and then look up the number that I will type into C8. But instead of using 2 or 3, I'm able to type a number in there and have Excel use that number by looking in cell C8. So let's see how it works. I'm going to find the tax payable for somebody who has a concession and a gross income of $310. And up pops the tax, $80, which is in column 2 for the salary of $310. This cell contains a formula which simply deducts the tax from the gross income. Let's try one using column 3. I change that to a 3, and if I press enter, I'll see that for $310 gross income, the tax is now $106 because Excel, via the tax concession formula, is looking in cell C8, which has the number 3 in it. So now I see that I can choose from two columns by simply entering a number into column C8, which uses that cell reference in the formula. Thank you for watching. There will be more demonstrations on more advanced features in Vlookup in time to come.